Steve-O,
Yo,
Big Q, what's the word?
How you doing, kid?
Hey man, listen, Chicago Bulls, they shocking me. Two 20-point comeback W's back to back. Whew. Can't be mad at it. Also, the Chicago Bears are banged up going into their matchup versus the Cardinals this Sunday. I'm still wondering if Matt Eberflus is losing the locker room. And finally, Cody Bellinger is he gonna opt out? Is he gonna opt into his contract? And if he does opt out, could he go to a division rival, fellas? We're gonna discuss all that and more right after the intro. Good morning, Chicago sports fans. Welcome to another episode of Chi-Town Sports Central. It's your boy Big Kev along with Steve O Speaks and Q. And we're gonna get right into it. Josh Giddy and the Chicago Bulls welcomed the Orlando Magic to town last night to the United Center and came out with a 102-99 victory. Now Orlando jumped out to a 33-18 lead. That lead jumped to 20 points in the second quarter. But from that point on, the Chicago Bulls outpaced these guys to the tune of 34-29 in the second quarter, 34-25 in the third quarter. And that fourth quarter was hard to watch, but the Bulls won that one too, 16-12 to end up with the victory real quick. Patrick Williams had 10 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and a big three to seal the victory. Nikola Vucevic had 18 points and 14 rebounds. Kobe White with 21 points. Zach LaVine only hit 2 shots, 11 points and 10 rebounds, though, for the double-double. And Josh Giddy with 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. So we had 3 players with double-doubles, 3 starters with double-doubles last night, guys. How are we feeling about the Chicago Bulls' ability to fight and win games that they would have lost last season?
man. I'm shocked that that they're clicking so fast that they already are the ball movement. And I mean, it's kind of been a common thing, even with the last team, that we start off slow and we kind of have to be getting our ass whooped and fight our way back. But with that being said, like with the current roster and the way we were trying to playing more faster plays, more moving the ball around, getting them as much shots up as possible. I think you can really believe in this team to get themselves out of a lot of situations due to the current playing style. I think the last playing style kind of limits you because it limits how you can play. It makes it easier for teams to defend you. They just zoned the hell out of us last year, so that was easier on the other team part. And it just with this playing style, it makes other people and mainly the overall team more engaged. You've seen players cutting, you've seen players constantly moving, you've seen them look like they're having fun for the first time in years. So, yeah, with that being said, I just think the playing style is a big reason why you can have a little bit of faith of them putting themselves in holes, but they can find themselves to dig themselves out of it.
Yes, sir. Q. Josh Giddy led the way last night, and on the season, he is shooting 59% from three.
Farquad.
Will the young man be able? Obviously, not. He's not going to shoot 60% from three for the whole season.
Yeah.
But is he going to be able to sustain respectability from 3-point range?
Hopefully he can. I mean, he definitely doesn't have a broken shot. It can go down. It comes down to confidence, right? Does he have the confidence to take it without hesitation? And I think that's one of the big things Josh has had issues with is shooting the ball with confidence and not stopping and pump faking like Javon Carter. The goal here is for him to keep doing that. If he can shoot like this, teams have to guard him. If he can do it consistently for even 40% or 38%, that's all you need from Josh Giddy on this team. I, obviously, he's not going to keep shooting 60 something percent from the field. And if he does, then we're going to pay him a lot more than $30 million. But right now, I think the good thing with Giddy, the Bulls now have 2 point guards who can see the floor, can shoot threes, and can get rebounds at a high level. Like that's something no other team can say they have. If this is something that works, you're going to see other teams starting to try to be like the Bulls. if they can go far in the playoffs at some point with this. So you might have a team in a setup with Giddy and Lonzo that becomes the new meta of the league if they can see some success.
Man, now Nikola Vucevic last night was 18 points, 14 rebounds. He did not hit a three-pointer for the first time all season. However, he's been the most consistent Chicago Bull, and it's been well noted over here on this channel that none of us expected it. He's averaging 20 points and 11 rebounds on shooting 50% from the field, gentlemen. How we feeling about Vucevic? Is he playing him? He's also shooting 45% from three, by the way. Is he playing himself back onto the team, or is this just an audition for Vooch, who's going to eventually be traded?
It could be a mixture of both, honestly, because we've always said there's a contender team out there that could use a Vooch, and we all know that. And with this Vooch being played, that's somebody I want. We all know. I think a lot. I wasn't one of those people that was worried about Vooch. I knew what Vooch was when we traded for him, and I think a lot of people just lose the hindsight of what he is and who he is. Like, he's never been that one-on-one defender. He's never been the best defender, period. He's been a good team defender when you had a good team defense around him. And when we had that first year, when we had good team defense, you seen that Vooch that we could all have. But also, you realize that his shots, and he also had to change and limit his game as well, because he came from being the number one role to the third option, especially with DeMar. And with DeMar being there, a whole different brand of basketball. You're taking it back to 2006 type of game style, the way we've been playing. That's just completely out of something he's not used to. Plus, DeMar was occupying his area where he operates in. Therefore, yeah, it can be something we can be like, yeah, we can use this, and we can keep pushing. He can stay on this team. He's under contract. He got a house here. We all know he loved the city. He loved I don't know if he loved the organization, but it seems that way. But yeah, but also you can use this as value. His value is probably at the all-time high. He's been the most consistent Bull all 3 years he's been here, or 4 years has been. So yeah, he can be somebody I can see one of these just trying to get over the hedge contenders can be interested in.
I've been telling people all off season, you got to take the over. That 28 and a half wins for the Chicago Bulls was just too low. I don't understand. I mean, I guess the odds makers were thinking that the Bulls were going to trade Zach and Vooch before the season started, but you don't go into a season with players like Zach, Vooch, and Kobe and expect them to not produce some type of positive results. So shout out to the Bulls, man, for having a strong start to the season. Even though Zach LaVine didn't play well last night, he's also another player that was supposedly on the trading block all season. Q, do you think that Zach so far is playing himself back onto the team because he has expressed interest in staying with the team, or is he still on the trading block in your mind?
Right now, it's getting harder and harder to trade Zach. Like, him and Lonzo, him and Giddy are getting a connection. He's your best cutter, arguably one of your best shooters, and he's the only player on your team that can go off for 20 and a quarter real quick with no issue, and it looks like he barely even tried, right? The issue right now is, can you find someone to take Zach's position in catch and shoots? Because Zach's position on this team is to come off of screens, pull up, have wide open shots. We can see that Kobe isn't really consistent enough to make that his position, even though we may want it to be. So if you can continue to get Zach to play the way he's playing now, where he's playing within the team, taking shots in the flow of the offense, yeah, I can see Zach staying. The real question is, does he want to be here with Billy Donovan? That's the question. Are the Bulls going to say Zach is playing well enough to kick Billy Donovan to the curb? And right now, with the way the Bulls are playing with this new offense, which is somewhat of a Billy Donovan style offense, right? It might be hard because they look like one of the best offenses in the league. The times when we don't look good is when Zach is trying too hard to do things that he shouldn't be doing. So it's going to come down to how successful this team does. I would say probably till the trade deadline. If this team completely blows teams out of the water, they look great, the offense is looking amazing, and Zach is in his role, they might keep him for the year. If it looks like he's starting to try to be hero ball, they might trade him and try to find someone to take that position.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, the Bulls are shocking the world right now. Obviously, it's only a small sample size, and health plays a role in it. We need Lonzo Ball to be healthy this season to sustain any type of success. I know that's strange to say for somebody who's not going to play more than 20 minutes a game, but that's just the reality of it. Josh Giddy and Lonzo are very similar. And now that Josh Giddy's hitting the three, you got two players, 2 point guards who are going to give you the same thing. So you got basically 48 minutes of point guards that's going to give you the same output. That's going to be dope. And then, of course, we need Jalen Smith to be healthy as well to back up Vucevic. The Chicago Bulls lacked a little bit of size last night, fellas, but they were able to overcome that and get the W. So if you guys want to hear any more in-depth analysis of the Chicago Bulls, head on over to Chicago Bulls Central, where Hayes is holding it down over there. And of course, we all pop in and out because we a family. If you ain't following Chicago Bulls Central, what's wrong with you, my guy? All right, moving right along to the Chicago Bears, who set the football world on fire, not just here in Chicago, but all over. Listen, these guys just had a debacle of a game on Sunday where they lost the game on a last-minute Hail Mary. We've talked about it enough. But what I want to talk about with them today is obviously the injury report. But before we get to the injury report, I wonder if Matt Eberflus has lost the locker room. We've had players all week long talking on Chicago's media, 670 The Score, whether it's ESPN 1000, where Jalen Johnson has something to say. You had DJ Moore has something to say. You've had other people just coming out and talking. And then DJ Moore doubled back and talked about the fact that Eberflus said that he wanted to keep things in-house. And then right after that conversation, talk to the public about keeping things in-house. So that's taking it right back out the house. And then double down on it and said he makes no apologies for what he had to say. Steve-O, do you feel as though Matt Eberflus has lost this locker room? And if he can get it, and if he has, can he get it back? You're muted.
Muted.
Said he's definitely starting to. Like you don't hear those type of words, and you usually it's around that time, like when that usually starts happening. For the first few years, we keep it hush hush. We keep it within ourselves. We try to work through it. We understand the situations and the ramifications that have been happening over the past 2 years. We give you grace, but when it's 3 years in, and we're constantly saying we're not 100% prepared, 100% detailed, that's a problem. 3 years in. Yeah, I don't care what the situation is. Once you 3 years in as a head coach, a lot of the little things that can blunder a whole game should be gone. The questionable the decisions, the clock management, not using your timeouts, not holding people accountable, keep saying the same old bullshit, or we just gonna have to figure it out. No, you just suck today. Just say it. It's not throwing somebody out the bus when you just saying, Tyreek, you didn't have a good game, and and the fact that you did what you did, you can say that in front of everybody. That's fine. The fact that you keep trying to fake ride for this team, say all the nice quotables, seeing the silver lining, like that's not a head coach. And that's not a good head coach, I should say. So yeah, it makes sense, and I'm not surprised. Yes, he's starting to lose the locker room, and I don't think there's nothing he can do to come from it. Like once you get that stench on you, and you have a reputation about yourself, you a reputation of a person that just can't get it done. The record speaks for itself, and the moment speaks for itself.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the Denver game where they were up 28-0, lost that one. They were up by 2 touchdowns with less than 4 minutes to go, lost to Detroit. They lost the Indiana game this year that they were supposed to win. They just lost this Washington game. And the list goes on and on. Even the Pittsburgh game from last couple years ago, that one hurt. And it's all about clock management. It's all about how the coach approaches those situations. But Q, if the Bears win against the Cardinals, then they win against New England, and then they go into Green Bay comes to town and they miraculously get a win versus the Green Bay Packers. Do you feel as though the trajectory toward, the thought process toward Matt Eberflus could be changed?
Only way it changes is if you beat the Packers. It's the only way it changes. Like, the city hates him. The team hates him. Like, it's clearly he's lost the locker room. And part of that is you're over here talking about we want to keep it in-house. You came out and called out Stevenson real quick with no hesitation. When it's people talking about the coaching staff and Shane and whose fault it is, the players got blamed real quick for that without any thought process. But the players need to sit back and just take the blame and not talk about the coach's mistakes. That's how you lose a locker room. Right? Stevenson came out immediately and said, hey, it was my fault. I messed up. Y'all not going to see it no more. I apologize. The coaches didn't do anything but say he should have been guarding his man.
Yeah, but you ain't say you needed that timeout though.
Oh, I should have been. I should have hopped off the field. Caleb shouldn't have to pull me off the field on the play. I should be more focused. We didn't.
Yeah, where's the hits principle there, Coach? Where does it apply to you? So yeah, man, I just feel like he has lost the locker room just based on how players have come out and publicly disparaged the decisions that were made. Kevin Byard specifically mentioning not using the timeout to stop that play prior to the Hail Mary. It's and Jalen Johnson talking about how the Hail Mary defense was set up. All of those things players don't normally talk about publicly. If they weren't fed up with the coach, they wouldn't be saying those things. And then they wouldn't double down on them after the coach tell them to stop talking about it publicly. So he has work to do to get back into the good graces of not just his team, but the public. Nobody in Chicago has any faith in Eberflus right now. He came into the season after Hard Knocks with everybody feeling like, okay, maybe he's starting to figure some stuff out. You got to see another side of him. But all of that grace and favor that he had after Hard Knocks, gone. It's gone. And the fans are just as important as anything else. They need the fans to be on board just as much. They need the players to be on board just as much. They need the media to be on board. And guess what? The media here locally is not on board, but neither is the national media or the world media at this point, because people all over the world watch NFL football now as they start to become more of a global sport, and everybody can see the stink lines flowing off of Matt Eberflus's body right now. And Shane Waldron, you're not absolved either, but we're just going to leave this on Eberflus at the moment.
And imagine, I want to know what that conversation was like when he said, we keep it in the house. He went out there and said, hey, the coach said, we're not going to talk about nothing. We keep it in the house. I'm going to tell y'all, though, I want to know what happened when he got back to the locker room.
Yeah,
and that's right there is why I don't give a fuck if he beat Green Bay twice. Ain't nothing he could do.
Yeah, but if we beat Green Bay,
they're not gonna fire him. Only thing you can say this man's job is a Super Bowl appearance. You're 10-24.
Yeah,
I don't care that you on the third year when we gave you the utmost talent you ever seen in your life. Now you can make a playoff appearance. That's not enough. I'm not trying to hear that.
And making the playoffs is not a guarantee. So Matt Eberflus, and honestly, if the Bears lose any of these next 3 games, especially the next 2, if they lose one of the next 2 or both of the next 2 and then lose to Green Bay, he needs to be fired in season. I don't want to hear none of that. The Bears don't fire coaches during the season. He needs to be fired in season. He hasn't done anything to show that he deserves to continue to coach this team. All right, so if you guys want to hear anything else, I mean, obviously, the defense is still pretty good defensively. Like, we give him his chops for being a good defensive coach. But other than that, he hasn't done anything.
His name don't say defensive coordinator.
It says head coach.
He can stay and get demoted if he want. If he want to keep it.
I wish that was a thing.
Yeah,
I really do.
He'll never take a step
that would be the perfect thing. I mean, he gonna be a DC in 30 minutes after he get fired anyway. But
they should have taken that approach this past offseason. It would have been unprecedented. But I feel like Ryan Poles, if Ryan Poles was gonna cook anywhere, he should have cooked that situation up and got him out of here and brought the offensive coordinator from Detroit over here.
You're notorious for having conversations with people.
This when you need a spending type of team. Look, we're gonna give you that coaching salary, that head coach salary. Just hop on that to that defensive.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. So if you guys want to go ahead, if you want to hear anything else about the Chicago Bears, head on over to Chicago Bears Central, where Hayes, Bobby, and C-Dub hold it down. And, of course, Steve-O Speaks and myself pop in and out over there as well, because we a family. And if you're not following Chicago Bears Central, what are you smoking, my guy? Because we need some of that over here. All right, we're going to close out the show with the Chicago Cubs. We already heard the news. The Chicago White Sox found their manager. If you missed that episode, head on over to Chicago White Sox Central. And right here yesterday, we did an episode, me and Q, discussing the Chicago White Sox new hire, Will Venable. And I think it's a good hire. But the Chicago Cubs are a team in flux right now. They're trying to figure out how to put together a roster that's good enough to not just make the playoffs, but win the World Series. Shout out to the LA Dodgers for winning the World Series last night. Out after it looked like the Yankees was going to force a game 6, they decided to drop the ball, literally. And the Dodgers pounced and got that win. And shout out to Will Smith, been a member of the last 5 World Series teams. That's crazy that he's bounced around the league and won the World Series in all 5 of his stops. That is insane. But Chicago Cubs, they want to get back to glory. They want to taste that champagne again. And it kind of hinges upon what Cody Bellinger is going to do. Oh, wait, real quick. We needed to talk about the injury report for the Chicago Bears. Because right now, the Chicago Bears, Kieran Amagaje did not practice, calf injury. Jaquan Brisker still suffering from a concussion after he knocked Buddy out in Tennessee like 4 weeks ago. Not in Tennessee, Indiana, right? Indianapolis? With the Rams game.
Rams game, yeah.
And then Kyler Gordon, hamstring, didn't practice. Braxton Jones, knee, didn't practice. Montez Sweat, shin, didn't practice. And then you got Ryan Bates on limited practice, Tevin Jenkins on limited practice, but I think he's going to play. And then Larry Borum is returning from injury. He was a full participant in practice. So the Chicago Bears, that injury list is kind of starting to pile up. Offensive line is struggling. Defensive backfield is struggling. And now you got Montez Sweat nursing some injuries too, fellas.
Well, this is the week for it.
Hey.
Get healed now, because after this week,
I was just about to say it's the perfect week. We expected to get Kyler and Brisker back this week, so that's a good thing. And so that can kind of help out some of the defensive roles. But I don't know. I think these going to be some game time decisions, aka they gonna end up playing. Like you just don't Sweat. Shin can't be hurting that bad the way he ran down Jaden for that last sack. So like, I think it's just it's gonna be just some discomfort for the remainder of the week, just because the shin, you bump your damn shin, that shit get inflamed. It can last, it can be sore for a week. So they're just letting them rest. Now Braxton Jones, I heard they say it's probably like 2 weeks, so I'm a little bit worried there. Fucking Shane Waldron, I hope you're listening. Put a tight end next to him. Thank you. That's all I'm not even gonna get him more details because I don't need to. Put a tight end next to him.
Now, I will say this: ain't no such thing as a perfect week for a Chicago Bears team. They need all hands on deck at all times because they'll figure out a way to lose to a nunnery. All right, y'all. Head on over to Chicago Bears Central for more updates on the injury report and the Bears locker room and the head coach situation. So, Chicago Cubs. Cody Bellinger has a $27.5 million option this season and next season. So when they signed him back this past season, everybody was like, hey, we need him back. We need him back. They gave him a crazy contract where it was 3-year contract with 2 opt-out clauses. And frankly, they need him to opt out. He did okay this season. He started off real slow. Toward the end of the season, he came along strong, played it well enough for other teams to be interested in him. If he opts out, that frees up money for the Chicago Cubs to kind of build a team that Craig Counsell kind of wants to have to try to push them over the top in the Central Division and into the playoffs. Well, there is a Central Division rival that might be looking at Cody Bellinger if he does choose to opt out. Jim Bowden of the Athletic has linked the Pittsburgh Pirates as a top fit for Cody Bellinger. Seeing him leave town to join the Pirates would be a tough pill to swallow for Chicago, but Pittsburgh would certainly make sense for him because they could use an upgrade at first base and or in the outfield. Adding to the offense, Bellinger is capable of bringing to the diamond would be a huge step in the right direction for the Pirates. So, do we believe that Cody Bellinger should leave the Chicago Cubs and then sign with a division rival? Now, I was glad to see that they weren't talking about the Cardinals because I wouldn't want to see that happen.
Ooh.
But the Pittsburgh Pirates, Q, I know you're the Cubs fan. How you feeling about that?
It's hard, man. He's making good money, but he has a chance to make more, right? It's a player that's going to help your team or help their team. I think, in all honesty, I think he leaves. I mean, it's hard. It's hard for a player to say no to more years and more money right out the gate, right? Like it's one of those things where he's going to go to a division rival, so he'll be in the same division. He's still going to have a decent chance of playing baseball. He might get to play first base, which a lot of people just like to play, and you get more years guaranteed. Like that's just a good choice. Like, unless you really love the Cubs and you really love where you're at right now, there's really no reason to stay. Like, the Cubs look like they're okay, but they're not going to win a championship. Like, this is one of those decisions where it comes down to you're not really looking at are you going to win a World Series. You're not looking at are you going to get minutes on the diamond. It's just, do I want the money that I can get if I opt out? Do I think they will offer me that money? And that's the real question. He didn't
Well,
have a great.
nobody offered it to him last season.
Yep.
After he had almost an MVP caliber type of year, the Cubs are kind of in no man's land with Cody Bellinger because Pete Crow Armstrong is their future center fielder. They love what he brings to the table defensively. Offensively, when he gets on base, he has the speed to steal 30 plus bases per year. We saw him hit an inside the park homer this year. That was crazy. That man went from first to home in like 13 seconds or something crazy. It wasn't that fast, but it was definitely fast.
That's all you heard when that motherfucker went.
He was gone. And then you got Michael Bush over at first base as well. They want to continue to see what they have there. So it's one of those situations where they like Cody Bellinger. He did play 30 games last year, 78 RBIs, 18 home runs, 266, 325, and 426 slashing numbers. But at the end of the day, they really need him to opt out of this contract, regardless of where he goes, because they're not going to be able to build the team that they want to build with him opting in this year and possibly opting in next year too. So at the end of the day, I
He's
think
good
it's time
guard.
for Cody Bellinger to get up out of here and try his hand somewhere else and let the Cubs build the team that they need to build.
He 29. He as
Mm-hmm.
good as gone. This is probably his final chance to get some money like he finna get. He gone.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you said, he's in a situation where either I'm gonna be in the same situation, get paid more, I'm be in the same situation, I'm just in a better city. I'm taking that money. And at the end
Every
of the
time.
day, you said all that thing about building the team. They ain't gonna build shit anyway. So yeah, you might as well go on anyway.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Y'all already know what it is. We appreciate all the love and support that you guys give us over here on Chi-Town Sports Central. If you're not following the rest of the family, man, y'all bogus. Go ahead and hit up Chicago Bear Central, Bull Central, Sky Central, Blackhawk Central, Cubs Central, White Sox Central, NBA Central, where I did an episode this morning. NBAM Central is what I called it, about all the games that occurred last night. We also got NBA Central After Dark and daily episodes where Hayes has been holding it down with cool content. And of course, the Shot Bulls podcast with Bobby and C Dub, where C Dub is the best live caller in the game. If y'all missed his call of the game last night, at least watch the third and fourth quarter from Chicago Bulls versus the Orlando Magic last night over on Chicago on Shot Bulls podcast. All right, it's your boy Big Bro. We got Steve-O in the building and Big Q been holding it down, man. We appreciate y'all. We're going to holler at y'all next time. Peace.
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 My motherfucking cough kept on